We're going to start with a look back at a few of October 2023's release highlights. And we're going to take a look at April 2024, what's new and exciting coming out in April's release. And we'll also show a demonstration on building a report. And in that demonstration, we'll also have a composite report build, which is some new functionality that came out back in October that we'd like to share with you. Before we jump into it, a quick introduction for myself. My name is Chris Gordon, and I joined RPI back in 2013. Currently manage our finance practice, and I am based out of Garnet Valley, Pennsylvania. Over the last year or so, Jail Report Designer came out back in April of last year, so we're coming up on its 1-year anniversary. And Tristan and I have been spending a lot of time getting to know the product over the last year. Trainings with Infor, office hours. Infor's been very open and accommodating with their knowledge transfer. So, fast forward to where we are now, and we're excited to share with you how the product has evolved and how it's going to evolve in April. And with that, I'll kick it over to Tristan to say hi, and then we will get into the content.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Tristan Rowden. I'm a consultant here with RPI on the finance team, based out of Prescott, Arizona. Just like Chris said, been working really closely with Infor the past year on this GL Report Designer. Just really excited to show you guys some of the new features and the composite reporting that got pushed out in October. So let's jump into it here.
All right, a quick look back at October 2023's release. And before we do so, just want to call out 2 KB articles. KB 229-3248 is sort of a one-stop shop for all things Jail Report Designer related. We've got training videos, documentation, activation steps, and Infor's Innovation Insights, some webinars and content that they've put out over the last year. So if you're just getting into the report designer or want to learn more about it, that's a great place to start. And then next up, KB article 230-3098, separate but related KB article that is focused on articulating the issues and the issues that have been reported on the product since it's been released. And Infor does a good job of outlining what the issue is. If there is a workaround, that'll be outlined on this KB article too. And also, if there's a resolution for that issue, it'll be captured there for when they're planning to fix it. So just two areas there, and also drawing your attention down to the attachments on those KB articles. Usually there's some documentation stored, whether it's videos or training guides or what have you. So don't forget about that. I'll take a peek down there. You can download and watch what you need. Okay, so 4 highlights we want to call out from October of last year before we look into what's upcoming in April. We've got a replication refresh date on our dashboard of the GL Report Designer, which is great. That's allowing us, as someone who is looking at the report or running the report, the ability to see when that data came in to the report designer from the columnar table. So ensuring that you're always looking at the latest and greatest data. And sort of piggybacking off that, for April, there is going to be an update coming, which will show where you can automate that refresh. So we'll take a look at that in a second. I'm going to skip over that second one there, the user screen navigation, because the April release will have some new UI upgrades too. This from October, some of that can be changing in April. Okay, and then probably 2 of the biggest ones there from October, the composite or the sub-report capability, which allows you to combine multiple reports into a single report. We'll walk through a demo coming up here to outline exactly how that looks. And drill back. So once you've created your report in the report designer, we've got the ability to click on an account balance, bring us back into Cloud Suite to determine and see what makes up that account balance. Okay, upcoming for April. So after the third weekend in April, we'll have new updates in your production environment. And Infor has 20 enhancements slated for April, an estimated number. But we're getting pretty close to April, so it's likely that this will be the 20. We're not going to look at each one individually, but I did want to call out about 7 that I thought were noteworthy. The first one being the summary level only option on your row views. So now you can bring in a summary level, just a summary level department, for example, into your report and eliminate all the detail departments or posting departments that you might not want to see. You set up and define that on your row views. Number 4, the automation to run a rep set for an incremental GL data load. Sort of referenced that a little bit ago, but now there is a way to schedule that rep set so that the data that you're reporting off of in the GL report designer is the most current it can be. And you can set that to run every 5, 10, 15, whatever frequency you need. Number 5, we've got column groupings. So this allows you to take, let's say, your actuals, budget, a variance, and a variance percent all under your year to date and group that under that one column. So you might have 4 columns of detail rolling up to your year to date, and then you can take those same 4 columns, move them out, and put them under a month to date or maybe a period, which is nice. It helps organize the report, keeps those column headings organized. Number 8, we've got your the ability to quickly identify if your tenant has been activated for the GL report designer. There are activation steps that you'll need to take. It's not just ready to be used and reports built right away. You'll go through an activation process with Infor, and if you're not sure if that's been complete yet, you can go to a validate setup action within the report designer setup to confirm. Number 10, we've got advanced calculations. So you can now use a wizard to create calculated columns. Let's say, for example, you want to divide actuals by your budget and represent that as a percent in a column, you can do so. And number 13, we've got accounting entity or company hierarchies. These are groups of companies that you define, and you can have them roll up in different ways based on reporting requirements, and then use that company hierarchy or structure directly in your report. And one of the last ones I wanted to call out was the ability to reverse signs. So when you go to your preview parameters or go to run the actual report, there will be a balance type field in which you'll say, show me the revenue, expense, and liability accounts, revenue, liability, and equity accounts as either positive or negative numbers, depending on how you want them represented on your report. All right, so those are about 7 of the ones that I wanted to call out. There's 20 coming out, or just about, in April. So those are the 7, and I think the report that we're going to dive into in a little bit, you'll get to see some of the October releases in real life.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. All right, so we're going to jump into a little demo from that composite reporting functionality that came out in October. So if you tuned into our last webinar, you'll recall that we have this 4-step process provided by Infor. So step 1, when building out a GL report design report, is going to be to create that row view. And so that's going to establish your different reporting dimensions in the report. After you've created a row view, we'll move into creating a column view. So column views are going to establish the data values that actually get returned into your report. Those are the 2 main components of your report. So once you've done those, you'll go ahead and actually create your GL report. You're going to add each of those elements into your report. And then at that point, you can go ahead and add any different filters that you need. And finally, your last step is going to be to generate the report. And then at that point, you can go ahead and preview and then run that report out to PDF. So when we talk about composite reporting, we're talking about a new functionality that allows you to compile multiple reports with a shared column view into a single report. So you may want to do this if you have multiple reports that have different row views or that are pulling different filters. So for example, you may have one company a list of reports that are all separate and each one is pulling different company data. But if you want to compile those all into a single report, as long as they have that shared column view, they can be compiled and you can push that out to your entire finance department to include all those different companies into a single report. So we'll go ahead and jump into this demo now. Well, today we'll be demonstrating how to build a composite report in GL Report Designer. A composite report allows users to consolidate 2 or more reports with shared column views into a single GL Report Designer report. For example, today we'll be looking at a departmental income statement in which our revenues are reported by summary departments and our expenses are broken out into posting departments. To begin, we're going to build out our row views. Row views are used to establish which dimensions we will be reporting on in our GL reports. So we're going to create a report, and our first report is going to be for our departmental expenses. So we'll give our row view a name, and we'll save, and then we'll see our row list. So our first, we're going to add a new row. We're going to say finance dimension 1, which is going to be our departments in this system. And for expenses, we only wanted to look at those posting levels. So we're going to select posting level only. We're going to say column size is 20, so it's going to be 20 characters long in that column. And I'm going to remove totals at the bottom, so our totals will only display at the top. Save here. You can see dimension preview, we're going to have all 20 spaces. It's going to say our department name and our department code as well, and then it will give us the value. In addition to finance dimension 1, we're also going to report on our general ledger chart accounts. So we'll select dimension general ledger chart account. Again, we want to just look at those posting levels. Column size is going to be 20. I will indent these over 5 so they stand out from our finance dimension 1. And then we're going to remove those totals at the bottom again. Now that we've built out our departmental expense row view, we'll go ahead and copy this over to create our departmental revenue row view. So we're going to right click, copy row view. We're going to call this departmental revenue. Delete out these copies. Now we're going to go ahead and adjust that finance dimension 1 row. So remember, at this level, we don't want to look at our posting levels. Instead, we want to look at a summary level. So we just want to look at a single level. We're going to look at level 3. We can determine which level we want to look at. If we go into our department structure, we see we have level 1, drop down, level 2, and level 3 is where we're going to be reporting at, just one level above our posting dimensions. And everything else can remain the same. We don't have to make any changes to our general ledger chart account row list. With that, our row views are complete. Our next step is to build out our column views. Column views are going to be used to establish the data that gets returned into the report. So this is going to be our periods, whether we return budget or actual data, and if we want to calculate a column such as our variances. So we're going to create a column view. This is going to be shared among all of our reports here. So we're going to call it our departmental income statement. We'll save this. column list. So this is going to list out each of the columns that gets returned onto these reports. Our first column is going to be a standard type column, not a calculated. It's going to be current month. Column value is going to be net functional amount. And for current month, we can just say okay. It's going to default to column size is 10. That's fine. I'll go ahead and save. We'll then get this dimension filters pop up. So we need to add a dimension filter. We are going to filter on scenario, save, and we can add that filter. And we are going to be looking at scenario 2, which are our actuals. If we're reporting on budget, we could select a budget scenario from down below. For all of these, we'll be looking at scenario 2. Okay, go back. And now that column is completed and we can move on. Now we will build out columns for each quarter. So we're going to add a column. Start with quarter 1. Again, it's a standard column. We'll be doing Q1. Column value is again net functional amount. We'll add an operator to this field. And this time we are going to be looking at a period range. We'll be looking from period 1 through period 3. Select OK. And then again, we're going to get that dimension filter just like last time. We'll drop that down to scenario. We'll save, add dimension filter. Again, looking at scenario 2. I will go ahead and build out the rest of the quarters, and we will join back together to build out year to date. With all of our quarters built out for a year to date column, I'm going to add a column, standard type again, do YTD, again net functional amount, I have an operator field, and this time our period operator is going to be year to date ending balance. Select OK. And for the last time here, our dimension filter on scenario, and looking at scenario 2. With this, our column view is complete, so we'll be looking at current month, all 4 quarters, and year to date, all actuals in our report. Now our third step is to build out each of our individual reports. So we will return to our report tab. We will select create. Let's start with our departmental expense report. Departmental expenses, we'll give it a report ID and then a report title, which is going to display at the top of the report. We'll select our row view, departmental expenses, our column view, our income statement column view. We'll save, we see that the rest of the tabs highlight here. We'll select our report selection. We need to tell this report to only grab our expense accounts. So we're going to select general ledger chart account. We will save and see that we get some more options here. We want to add an account type filter. Expenses. Submit that. So now that is a hard filter built into the report. Report parameters. We can go ahead and add a report parameter on our accounting entity. These are going to be a soft filter on the report. So each time the user runs the report, they will get the option to select a single accounting entity to run, or they can run it wide open and return all accounting entities. At this point, our report is ready to generate. So we go back to our main tab here. We can see on our dashboard that the report is not generated. So we will generate the report. Okay. This will take just a moment here. Once a report is generated, we can open this report. We can set our preview parameters. We're going to select our reporting basis as our default. Again, we have this accounting entity field that is there because of our report parameters. We're going to look in 2018. Fiscal month is 3. We'll submit this. Now we see that our preview report tab opens up. This will take just a moment to run here. So once we get our data back, this takes just a second on that first run, especially. You can see that we now have blue hyperlinks on all of our data. So if we want to look at the balance, it's 2,397 for our depreciation of land improvements. We can select that. And it's going to take us back to our GL totals to see what was behind that value. Close that up. Our next step is to build a revenue report. So we return to our reports tab, create a new report, departmental revenue, our row view. It's going to get that revenue row view that we built out at the beginning. Column view, income statement, save, our report selection. Once again, we only want to pull in these revenue accounts. So we'll select general ledger chart account, save, we'll add an account type filter on revenue. Again, we will add that report parameter to allow our users to only select a single accounting entity if they wish. And we are ready to generate. So we'll go back out to our dashboard, department revenue, in a report not generated status. So let's generate. Once it's generated, we can open it up. We will set our preview parameters. Default reporting basis, 2018. Submit. This is going to take just a moment to run. So once we have our data, we can see our department is at that summary level. We have all of our hyperlinks that we can drill back into the data if we wished. Now for our final step, we're going to build the consolidated report. So we'll go back to our reports tab and create. Our report ID is going to be departmental income statement. This time we're going to select this composite report checkbox. Save, and we see that we have this sub-reports tab that now opens up. Here, you're going to select departmental revenue first. We're going to give that a header of revenue. So now at the top of this section of the report, it will say revenue. And we're going to go ahead and add expenses. Save. And at this point, we are ready to generate this report as well. So we'll return back out to our dashboard, select that departmental income statement, generate report. Take just a moment here. Once it's complete, we can go ahead and open it up. And this time, we're just going to go ahead and run the report. We're going to do it in PDF format. Reporting basis is default, and our fiscal year is 2018 again. Submit that. This one's going to take just a moment to run. Once it does, it's going to pop up in our print files. So once that report has been created, we can view it. It's going to open in a new tab, and now we can see we have revenue up top. We have that summarized at that summary level for each department, and we can see the posting level accounts that everything falls into. And if we get down to the expenses section, and now you can see that we are at those posting level departments. And any one of these values we can drill back into. And it's going to take us to our GL totals where we can see the detail behind that information. That is a high-level overview of the GL Report Designer composite reporting functionality. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. All right, so a couple lessons that we've learned over the past year in GL Report Designer. When you make a change to any of your column views or your row views, that's going to apply to all of the reports that you have those applied to. So we would recommend that when you're building out an individual report, that you use that copy and paste, or copy and create from feature for any shared row views to prevent any changes being made to reports that you don't want those changes applied to. So keep a unique column views and unique row views for each report, with the exception of our composite reports, as they do require you to share that row view.
And just a final slide or section here on how our API can help. We, it's a new product, and with that comes a need for training and education. That's something that we can certainly offer. So we've been putting together an offering here to enable everyone that needs to get enabled on the product. And what that comprises of is essentially a 4-hour training for your team. And before that training is a lot of work that we would do to get into your own system with your data and build reports. So we'd go in and build 3 reports that we would eventually do like a show and tell for you during the training, a look under the hood, if you will, on how it was set up, certain ways we approached building that report to pass that on to you and your team. Keeping in mind that the GL Report Designer is geared towards accountants and controllers and accounting managers, and less of the IT department, which is one of the benefits. You're putting the report development capabilities in the hands of the functional end users to get what they need. So we want to empower you, and part of that is training. So that's the first step here, and then providing a bucket of hours to support you thereafter to ensure you have what you need to take it and run with it, and support any report building questions or challenges that you're running across. So that's it for us. We will turn it over for questions here. I do have one that's come in. How do we activate the GL Report Designer? Okay, so back up in, Tristan, are you able to scroll back to the first KB article?
We can go back there.
Yep. So on KB article 2293248, there is a link. I think it's like right at the top to activate the steps to activate. So follow that link, and then I think you'll open a ticket with Infor, and then you'll be ready to go.
Have any other questions out there?
All right. Well, thank you all for your time.
Yeah. Feel free to email us at RPI, or questions@rpic.com with any additional questions, and Chris and I will be sure to reach out.